Now that you're doing what you love, do you ever wonder why you don't like it anymore? If you're anything like us, you started a business and it took off way faster than you anticipated and you got burnt out. We got so burnt out our first year of business because we grew in a way that we did not expect. We had heard this statistic from the internet, so obviously it's valid, but we had heard this statistic about how so many percentage of small business owners failed within their first few years of business because they couldn't make it. And we always thought that that was because of not getting enough business. So we hoarded work in order to make sure that we were successful. And it wasn't until we were working through Christmas and Thanksgiving and our birthdays and New Year's, it wasn't until we were working through these holidays and missing moments with our family that we realized that we're missing something. You can fail from having too much on your calendar. We got so burnt out our second year that we thought about being done with the business. Honestly, to think about that now, it's scary because we're so happy with where we are. But at the time, it was that was the right decision. I was ready to be done. Mitch was looking at being a mailman because that sounded like more fun. That's sad because this was our dream. This was our dream and we love working together and we don't want to work for someone else. And we were ready to give that up because we were so burnt out. Maybe you're in a position where you are burnt out or you have been burnt out and are coming back from it, but you're not quite there yet. I want to tell you how to come back from it. And then I want to tell you how to avoid it because I want you to work your best job and live your best life. The way that we came back from burnout is that we took time off. And I'm not talking about taking time off in the sense that you have a month that you kind of do really light work and analyze your website and reach out to new leads. I'm talking like a month away entirely. Do you remember how I said our first year was really difficult? It was. We took December and January, or at least the plan was to take December and January off. December ended up becoming a lot of backlog editing. In January, we were like, okay, it's fine if we work on Christmas because we're going to work and get done with everything and then be able to take January off. Well, January was not a time off. We were still editing. I was emailing new inquiries. And then in February, our next year wedding season began. So we were swamped from the beginning. And it was about halfway through 2022 that we realized that we had to do something different the next year. Taking that time away entirely is super important. That is how you are going to come back from burnout. So in the event right now, let's say you're in the position we were in and you're like, okay, I've got a lot on my plate and busy season is coming up. How am I supposed to do that? You're going to take a day a week away. So maybe you can't fit a whole month in your calendar. I want you to designate a day. Our days are Tuesdays. Steal them if you want. But basically, you're going to take time away from work. You are putting your laptop down. Your phone is in do not disturb. Get to the point where you're aching for work. If you can, get to the point where you're antsy and you're bored and you are ready to start shooting again. I'm going to give you 3 ways that you are going to avoid ever being burnt out again. The first thing that you are going to do to avoid burning out is you are going to limit your calendar. And I know this is easier said than done. For example, we have a certain number of weddings that we take a year. We took 50 our first year and realized that is absolutely unreasonable for us to be able to do all that we want to do for our clients and take 50 weddings on. So we have found that our number is 25. 25 is where we're comfortable. We know we serve our clients well. We actually also have a point system. So if you are like me and you are an incredibly emotional person who gets attached to somebody when they say hello to you, you're probably going to be like, you know what, Kaitlin, I have a really hard time limiting myself. How do I limit myself? This is cold and analytical and difficult to establish, but once you've established it, this is going to help you. We have points assigned to the different types of sessions. Weddings are 2 points. Other sessions like engagement sessions or family sessions are worth 1 point. And in a week, I allow myself to have 3 points, unless there's a crazy double header or something, in which case we have 4 points, but then we're doing nothing else that week. Know your boundaries and know your limits. Just because you have a date open in your calendar does not mean that you need to book something that date. Another way that you can limit the number of things on your calendar is saying no to people. I'm not going to say that it gets easier because I definitely cry just a little bit when we have a couple reach out and we're booked on their date or we reasonably can't take on any more that weekend. It's okay to be sad when you say no to people, and it's okay to be like, man, I wonder if that was the right thing. But when you are approaching a situation where you have to tell somebody no, or when you think no might be the best answer, I want you to remember how you feel right now in your burnout. I want you to recall all of the feelings that have led you to the point where you clicked on a video that says, help, that is I will help you. I want you to remember what this feels like. And if you need to write it down so that you can pull this little note out and be like, okay, I don't want to get there again. I guess I can say no. Do it, write it down. But I want you to remember what this feels like and then remember what your clients deserve and know that when you say no, you are protecting yourself from feeling like this again, and you're protecting your clients from getting any less than the best of you. So the second way that you are going to avoid burnout is to know that there are going to be really difficult times of the year, and then you are going to prep for them so that way you're walking into them ready to take on that busier time. When we first started, we didn't really know how much we could take, and we were walking into busy season already bogged down. Our second year in business, we were super booked. I thought I'd had burnout figured out. I thought that I had our schedule protected. However, we walked into a busy season, October. Like, if any of you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. October was crazy. We had lots of weddings. We had lots of family sessions. We had lots of engagement sessions. We realized we were going to be behind. And that meant that we were going to be working a lot of extra hours. We have stayed up super, super late editing and working on projects. And that is something that can burn you out so fast. You're watching your family take time off for the holidays at the end of the year. The kids are home from school, and you are staying up until 4 a.m. editing. Like, we've been there. We know what that feels like. For us, what it looks like now is we have these, what we call wedding day workflows, and that helps us prepare for a wedding. So the day before the wedding, we sit down for an hour, we talk through the timeline together, and we talk through any, what we call hiccup points, which is where there could be an issue that we want to talk through, talk about delegation of resources, so that we're going into the wedding day making sure that we're covering it the best way possible. Because if you prepare for the wedding and prepare to shoot the wedding well, editing's going to take you less time. It will. If you know what to look for and know how to prepare, it's going to take you less time. And then after a wedding, we have post-wedding workflow. We come home, we offload cards, we cull through pictures. We have like a sneak peek, I want to call it regimen, like basically where we have culling and picking out favorites and writing the blog post and getting a gallery ready. And we have time frames for each of these things so that way we have a standard that we're holding ourselves to. It's not kind of like this gray space where we're like, well, we have 6 weeks that we could take to deliver this project. We have day by day an agenda that we are following for the workflow of this project in order to make sure that we are holding ourselves to a standard and we are getting stuff done on time. This helps that project not fall in a gray space of not getting worked on, and it also helps you maintain this like freshness about the project. Okay, well, today I have to finish the ceremony and the reception. I have to finish those 2 parts of their gallery, and then at the end of the day, even if it was a longer day because those are 2 hefty sections of your gallery, they're done. You're done with them. You don't kind of like linger back and forth between editing your gallery a little bit and then another person's gallery. You know what you have to finish, and that's going to help you finish things in a timely manner so that you can prepare to be in busier seasons. The last way that you are going to avoid burnout is that you are going to take time off. And I know you're probably thinking, Kaitlin, this sounds so familiar. The reason for that is because it's an essential part in coming back from burnout. Time away is the perfect time to fall in love with doing your job again. And this can look however it looks for your business. Maybe you take weekends off to be with your family. Maybe you have a random day of the week that you don't touch your laptop, that you're away. Maybe you're like us and you take a couple months at the end of and the beginning of the year off in order to make sure that you're taking care of yourself. This probably sounds really, really simple, but it's the most important part of all of this. And when we first started and we were working those days from like 9 a.m. until 4 a.m., we had people who were telling us, you need to take a day off. Like, you have to take a day off. And I remember being like, okay, yeah, right. Like, or they just don't understand because they're not a small business person. And I remember being like in this mentality of like, well, I have to get stuff done. I can't take a day off. And although that's valid, and if you are behind in projects, you do need to work through them, making sure that you are protecting your time off is essential in making sure that you are ready to work again. And I'm going to let you in on a secret that I learned last year that I have to remind myself of all the time. And it is that work does not care about you. Work does not care if you're coming in on Christmas. In fact, work feels entitled to it because it's always going to be there. Work does not care if you gave up your sibling or your kid's birthday dinner to finish a project. Work doesn't care. It's not going to appreciate you. It's not going to thank you. Clients can thank you, and that can make it worth it a little bit. I promise you, you are going to get to a point where you look back at all of the things that you convinced yourself to give away about yourself, and you're going to be frustrated that you allowed that to happen. Work does not care about you, so protect the time that you take off. Make sure that if you have a day that you're away, if you can't not look at your email when you get an email, put your phone on Do Not Disturb. Easy way to avoid that. If you have somebody who's like, I need a session like ASAP, but your day off is the only day on your calendar that you have available, sorry, next week is the week that I can do that for you. Your day off is a day that you're booked for you. It's for you, for your business. Like, just take time away. That's like the biggest thing. And I know that as someone who has got to the point where they're burning themselves out, you're probably like, I don't really need to take time off, or I can take as much time off as I want when I want, but I just like can't right now, or something. You find a reason why you can't. And I'm telling you, that's the problem. That's the problem. You need to take time away. Just figure out a way to take time away. And then when you do book yourself this year, make sure you're just limiting the number of sessions you're doing. Like, give yourself time to be a person, and you'll watch yourself get excited about working again. Well, I really hope that this has been eye-opening for you. I hope that it's given you some good strategies for coming out of burnout if you're there, and I feel for you if you're there. I also hope that this helps you plan for your next year of business, making sure that you are making yourself a priority, because that is honestly going to be the thing that transforms your business. If you want to hear more about our burnout story and how we came back from it, you can listen to episode 3 of our podcast. Are you sure it's gonna be right here?
Yeah.
You can listen to episode 3 of our podcast by clicking right over here. If there's anything that you want more information about, please ask us. We are here to help you because we have been there, and it can't be for nothing. So please drop us a comment or send us a message, and we will see you back next time.